Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is basically going to be a life update video where I have been the past couple weeks. The thing that I talked to you guys about in like 2 videos ago. I just wanted to explain what happened, and honestly, like, I love you guys so much and I share so much with you guys on Instagram, on Snapchat, on YouTube, and I connect with you guys, we talk to each other, but I just wanted to talk to you guys about a few things and kind of give you guys some insight. So anyway, number one, school started, and you guys already know how busy my schedule gets when school starts. If you guys didn't already know, I think I mentioned this before, but I transferred from a community college because I finished my 2 years at a community college and now I'm at a university. I am 24, I am a junior. I dropped out of school for a few years when I was younger. And then once I bought my house and I got my car and, you know, my own responsibilities, I kind of realized, like, okay, I don't want to serve and I don't want to bartend for the rest of my life. Let me get my act together and get back to school, especially now that I have a house, you know, my own responsibilities. I want to have a career. For those of you who may be wondering what my major is, it is social work. It's not like the best paying, you know, career and things like that. But at the end of the day, I think that as long as I'm making enough to support myself, and I'm sure I'll be making more than what I'm making now, and I can live a comfortable life, you can always move up, you can always go back to school, you can always do bigger and better things if you put your mind to it and really work hard for it. But helping other people has just really given me such satisfaction in my life. Doing my internship, starting my YouTube channel, it really has a special place in my heart because I didn't come from the best upbringing. I had a really tough life like everybody else. Everybody has their tough life stories, but I feel like I've come up from that and I've overcome those obstacles, and honestly I am 110% blessed. So one of my other updates is I had a plantar wart on my foot. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those. I literally found out that I had it probably like 3 years ago. I had it for 7 years, but I found out what it actually was about 3 years ago because I had no idea what a plantar wart was. I never got those as a kid, and my sisters never got them. So 7 years ago I had this like rough skin on the bottom of my foot, on the ball of my foot actually, and it used to bother me like a lot when I walked on it. So I would just shave it down because I thought it was a callus. I thought it was calloused skin. So I would just shave it down, and when I met David, actually, he saw my foot and he was like, Kim, like, that's a wart on your foot. I was like, what? No, it's not. It's a callus. And he's like, no, it's a wart. And we looked up like pictures and stuff like that. It was definitely a wart because they had the black dots that warts have. And more recently, I've been walking a lot at work. You guys know that I serve, and my ankles started to hurt really bad. So I feel like it's starting to mess with my ankles because I'm walking on my foot a little differently to put the pressure off the wart. So I decided that it was time to go and take it out. So I went to a podiatrist, and my options were either using acid to burn the layers of the skin off slowly. The doctor told me that because of the deepness of my wart, that could take up to months, like months, and I had to be extremely consistent with it. Or then he said that I could also get it surgically removed. So that was my option, to get it surgically removed. So they numbed my foot, basically scalpeled out a piece of my skin and curetted out the wart. The anesthesia hurt the most, and the healing process has actually been a really big pain. It's more discomfort than pain, but I could barely walk on my foot like a week ago. It's gonna be like that for about 3 weeks, he said. So I'm on week number 2. Week numero dos, and it's actually getting a lot better. Enough about my nasty wart. So the reason why I was so MIA the last week, my grandmother passed away. The day that I filmed that video, I actually had all black on and I was going to her wake, and okay, I'm good, you guys. Like, I am good, but I just want to explain to you guys my story and how I coped with this. Number one, I've never experienced any type of major death in my family, one to the point where it actually hurt. Never went through an experience where it actually was like one of my close family members, people that I see on a regular daily basis, and honestly, I just didn't know how to cope with it. My grandmother had brain cancer. It happened about, I'd say 8 months ago, 7, 8 months ago. She did have brain surgery, and what they did the surgery for was to basically test the tumor, get a little tissue from the tumor to test it to see if it was cancerous. They tried to give her steroids for it to see if it would shrink. Obviously, if it's not shrinking, then it's cancerous because it's growing. So she had a malignant tumor in her brain. So she actually had a glioblastoma, and it's a malignant tumor affecting the brain or spine. And in other words, it's a fast-growing brain tumor. And symptoms of the tumor are headache, vomiting, and seizures, which she never had. She never had any like vomiting or seizures, but she did have headaches, and she would also get signs of vertigo. She had vertigo. So when they found this tumor, they tested it, it was cancerous. So It was very big. The tumor was very large, but the doctor told us that she didn't have it for a long time. She had already been crossing her boundaries by getting the brain surgery at that age, because they actually had to, you know, cut this incision here. It was like somewhere around her head in the front, and, you know, they had to open the skull and get into the brain to get at this tissue to test it. So after the surgery, my grandmother was, I believe she was like paralyzed halfway. Half her body was paralyzed. I believe it was the right side, and she couldn't move. It was very saddening to watch my grandmother like this, because my grandmother has always been such an independent woman, always walking, always doing dishes, going to the stores, coming over, like going up the 3 stories to my mom's house. Like, you know, before all this happened, she was at my house all the time, my mom's house, on the couch. Every time I'd walk in, oh, Kimberly, how are you? She calls me Kimberly. My name is Kimberly in Spanish, but you know how Puerto Ricans are. And she was so active, so to see her in this condition made me really sad. But then they moved, you know, she started recuperating, and she did a really good job at that. And then she started doing physical therapy, and she got her movement back. Although she couldn't really walk, she was still in a wheelchair, but she could move her arms. She could now feed herself and stuff like that. But when that happened, the doctor had told us that she was going to recover from the brain surgery, and she was going to be doing very well for a while. And then one day, the cancer was just going to catch up to her, and it was practically going to knock her out. She was just going to be in bed all the time. She got really sick a few months after the brain surgery, and she was pretty much in hospice care at her house. Hospice is basically the type of care that's given to people who are going to pass away soon. And they also provide support systems for the families. You know, they try to make the person who is unfortunately dying very comfortable. You know, they take care of them, and it's a really, really nice service. Like I said, I'm in the human services field, and I appreciate this type of service so much. But yeah, so they provide a lot of different things. So my grandmother was in hospice care, and she was doing very, very bad. I don't like to remember her like this, because my grandmother was such an active, religious, very powerful, strong woman. So I don't like to think much about how she was when she was sick, but anyway, you know, she was sick. The doctor told us, it was actually a nurse who was taking care of her, told us that we should go visit her as much as possible because she wasn't going to last. And prior to that, probably the day before, we had heard from the doctor that my grandmother had until March 2017 to live. Mind you, my grandmother passed away, I think like 2 weeks ago, something like that, about a week and a half ago. And so I started crying hysterically. I'm like, that sucks, like March, like why, this and that. And then 3 days later, she actually passed away, which was even more heartbreaking, because I was like, what? They said till March. At this point, my grandmother was awake for, I saw her for 3 days before she passed away. Once the nurse told us that, you know, she was leaving soon, I went there every moment that I could. I spent hours with my grandmother, with my family. So she was talking the first day. I fed her some melted ice cream. She loved sweets. My grandmother had a major sweet tooth. So I was feeding her ice cream. She could not feed herself at this point. She had no energy, could not move. And then the day after that, when I went to see her, she was asleep, and she basically slept until she stopped breathing. And the nurse told us that her breathing would go in and out, and that was normal. Basically what was happening was her organs, her systems were shutting down. She couldn't eat, she couldn't drink anything. And just according to regular human body, if you don't have liquids, water in your system for 3 whole days, you die. Your body needs water. And, you know, it was a given. If she couldn't drink or eat anything, she was going to pass away. And unfortunately, she just didn't wake up. We all gathered around her. We spoke to her, because supposedly the last thing that goes when you're dying is your hearing. So we made sure to tell her that we love her very much, and that we were by her side, and that we're all here for her and all supporting her, because we loved her so much. All her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren, like my little nephew and my niece, my aunts, my uncles, our pastors came, they preached for her. It was just a really, really nice, so almost sad moment, but it was a really nice moment. And honestly, I think that it just made it easier because we are religious, because we come from a religious background. I'm not going to sit here and say that I am some sort of, you know, 110% Christian or anything like that, but growing up, we did go to a Pentecostal church. Like, we were straight up Christian. When my grandmother passed, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I received the phone call, and I was hysterical. I couldn't breathe. I was crying. I got such a huge migraine from crying so much. And it was the hardest thing I've ever, I don't want to cry right now because I've already done my crying, and, you know, I know everything happens for a reason, and my mom explained that to me, but it was the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life. It was absolutely horrible. It felt like my heart was ripped out of my body, and I kind of went into this, like, almost like a blank mode. At work, I would be blank, staring into nothing and just like thinking. And it like really took a toll on me. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do homework. I couldn't listen to music. I couldn't even be home by myself because my thoughts would drown me. Didn't want to accept it, and I almost got mad at God for it happening. And that's not the way things are. You know, everything happens for a reason. Everybody is placed on this earth for a purpose, and once you fulfill your purpose, you're gone. And that is okay. That is the reason why you're here. And people who, you know, try to commit suicide and things like that, like it's hard to understand what people are going through, but just always remember, if you're watching this and you ever have suicidal thoughts or anything like that, you were here. You were placed here for a purpose. Your image, the way you look, the way you act, everything is the way it is for a reason. And you need to appreciate your life. And honestly, it kind of sucks that I had to take this to show me how much to appreciate my life, how much to appreciate my existence, because sometimes you literally sit down and you're like, oh my God, I wish I was dead, or I wish that I didn't exist because you have so much problems. But God is never going to put you through a situation that you cannot handle. And honestly, like, I have learned that firsthand. And literally, since this happened, I have thanked God every day for my life, for my existence, for me waking up. Oh, what do you have in store for me today? Is it a tough day? Is it an easier day? And no matter what, it's a good day because you're still alive and because you're still here to fulfill that purpose that you were placed on here on this earth for. And the reason why you exist is because of God. And I've just been really, really thankful. I was very depressed. Like I said, I was very depressed, and I spoke to my sister, and my sister's like, Kim, I really think that you need to speak to Mom, because she spoke to us, and my mom, she's from this religious background, and she's like, Mommy spoke to me and Kayla, which is my other sister, and everything makes sense, and me and my sisters and Mom are all at peace. My mother, mind you, this was my mom's mom. My mom was at peace. I went to visit her, and I'm like, and my mom is like, Kim, like, why are you crying? And she just started talking to me, and I felt this sense of relief. And basically what my mom said, and I swear this was God talking through her, was that my grandmother is in a better place right now, and she won her spot in heaven, and she won that, you know, don't be miserable, don't be sad, but use this as a celebration. Celebrate that my grandmother is now in a better place where there's no suffering, there's no pain, there's no agony, there's happiness and cheering and glorifying. And it's just, you know, it just made so much sense. And they basically, at her wake, the pastors came and they preached and stuff like that, and they basically explained that she had won her spot in this grand palace, this place, and you know that she's happier than all of us right now. You know, she has it good now. She's in a better place. And my grandmother, aside from everything that she's been through, like I said, everybody has been through a tough time in their life. Everything that she has been through, she has overcome it, and she always put God first. My grandmother, wherever she went, she prayed. Whatever church she went to, she asked for them to pray for her and her family. Like, she always had everybody in her prayers, and she was such a strong and dedicated and such a religious woman. And honestly, I love her so much, and I cherish her, and I will never, ever, ever forget all the things that she taught me. You were placed on this earth for a purpose. Thank God that you're here. You know, I know some people are disbelievers, and that's okay. Everybody has their own opinion, but I've experienced stuff, you know, that I can't possibly say I don't believe in God. The whole situation made sense, and it put me at peace. It literally put me at peace. I could sleep alone now in my house, and I don't feel sad anymore. I just, you know, I miss her. I love her so much. I can't wait to see her. As a tribute to my grandmother and her passing, I did get a tattoo. I got a new tattoo. I'm not a tattoo person, but I got this tattoo. And it says, until we meet again, abuelita, because that's what I used to call her. Don't, you know, it's a goodbye for now. The pastors also explained to us, it's just a goodbye for now. It's not forever. And it just made me feel so safe and secure. And instead of getting like those weird tattoos that say rest in peace and blah, I don't like tattoos like that because I don't want to think of the negative. I want to think of the positive. So I went ahead and put until we meet again, grandma, in Spanish, because until we meet again, I can't wait to see you again. I love you so much. I miss you more than anything in this world. And I'm, you know, aside from being sad, at the end of the day, I'm happy because I know she's in a better place. And I really hope that my words have helped you guys hopefully get through some bad things, even if it's not like a death in the family, even if it's like something that has to do with a relationship. At the end of the day, you are here for a purpose. Don't let anybody bring you down. Always pray. Always thank God for your life, for your existence, and just fight. Fight for what you want, and never turn your back on him, because he's always going to be there for you, and he loves you very, very much. Anyway, I have to go because I'm going to be late. Yeah, I'm going to be late. I love you guys. Bye.